Today we're going to talk about word problems and how to dissect them. So how do you dissect a word problem, and how do you write equations to help in real-world scenarios? So a couple things at the top here. The first is that you want to look for, is there something that happens once or has a starting point that does not get a variable? Is there something that happens over and over and every time that gets a variable next to it? And then is there a total of some kind which is going to go after the equal sign? Our steps when we solve a word problem. First, tell me, what does your variable mean? So write a let statement, put it into an equation, and then solve, and then tell me, define your answer, give exactly what the problem is asking for. I'm not going to read all of these out. What I will do is go over how to write the equation and why. So I would like you to pause the video in between, read the word problem, and then unpause to watch the answer. Number 1, we are asked how many boxes can we put on the elevator after each trip. So we want to say let x equal number of boxes. Okay, and now we can write our equation. The thing that is happening over and over is 38, so that gets a variable because it's 38 pounds each box, so 38x. It says that the employee weighs 215 pounds. We're not going to put a variable next to that because there's only one employee and the elevator happens once. And my total is 2,500. Which is the total number of pounds the elevator can hold. And then you go ahead and solve that. Pause the video and do that yourself. You're going to get a decimal for your answer that's correct. So we say x, and you solve this, is approximately 60.13, but we need to give our answer in a whole number. So how many boxes can we put on the elevator? Well, you can't round up because that would be over capacity. So we round down and we say for our final answer, 60 boxes. Because you can't have part of a box. Number 2, we're going to write expressions for both phone companies first. It says what number of texts makes these two companies cost the same. So we'll start by saying let x equal the number of texts. Okay, and now we'll write expressions for both. For company A, it's 20 per month and 30 per text. $20 happens once, no variable. 30 cents happens per text, so that gets a variable because it happens over and over and over. Okay, and then company B just charges $35 a month. That happens one time per month, and so no variable. I'm asking, when are they the same? So you set them equal to each other, because in math, same means equal. If you solve that by subtracting 20 to both sides, which gets you 0.3x equals 15, and then divide by 0.3, you're going to get that x equals 50. You're not done until you answer the question. What number of texts makes these two companies cost the same? 50 texts. Number 3 is really similar to the last one. You'll write two equations again, well, two expressions for each. One for crazy carnival. First, define our variable. Let x equal the number of rides, because that's what we're asking for. How many rides must you ride for the two carnivals to cost the same? Remember to pause and read the question. All right, crazy carnival. charges a $10 entry fee and $1.30 per ride. So $10 happens once, but $1.30 happens over and over, so it gets a variable. And then Wonderland, no entry fee, so no one-time fee, but it does cost $2.30 per ride. It happens over and over, so it gets a variable. Now, since we're asking when are they the same, we set these equal to each other. 10 plus 1.30x equals 2.30x. And go ahead and solve. Move your variables to one side. So it gets us 10 equals 1x. If you divide by 1, you will just get that x equals 10. So go back and answer the question, how many rides until it costs the same? It will take 10 rides. Number 4. If the perimeters of these two are equal, how could you find the length? Okay. These two perimeters are equivalent. So we need to write them as an expression, just like the last one, and set them equal to each other. So here's our process that we're about to do. We're going to set equal, solve for x, and then once we have that, to find the length, we will plug x back in. To get the side lengths. Okay, so when I go to find the perimeter of each of these, because the perimeters are equal, I add up all three sides. And so when I do that, I'll end up combining like terms. So these three are like terms, which gets me 6x. And these two are like terms, which gets me 13. Remember, we're setting these equal. So in the other triangle, I have 2 plus 2 plus 3, so 7x, and then only one of these plus 9. You go ahead and solve that equation, and pause it and do that. You'll get x equals 4, so that's what you would take and plug back into the sides. For example, like 2 times 4 plus 7, so this side is 8 plus 7, which is 15. And you would do that for all the sides until you could figure out the actual perimeters. On number 5, you're asked to solve for how many cartons the baker ordered. So we will say, I'm going to use a different variable. Let C equal the number of cartons. You can always use whatever letter you want. And now we will write an equation. If each carton contains 18 eggs per C carton, because that happens over and over. Every carton has 18 eggs. It gets a variable. And then the baker orders 162 eggs. That's my total. Solve that equation by dividing by 18 on both sides, and we get that cartons is 9. So final answer, how many cartons? 9 cartons. This next one is a little bit different. So this is number 6. The difference of 7 times a number n and 2 is 44. Difference in math means subtract, and times means to multiply. 44 here is your total. So when I say the difference of 7 times a number n and 2, I'm saying take 7n and 2 and subtract them. The difference in subtracting between those two is 44. So now you solve this equation. You know how I mentioned everyone makes mistakes? Well, this is one of those moments because you get a decimal answer when you do this one, and that is my fault, but we're going with it. We're going to round today. 46 divided by 7 is approximately, n is approximately 6.57. Normally I'd make that a whole number, but today I messed up, so we'll just go with that. So the number is 6.57. Number 7. Of course, you're selling pop sockets. So again, we're looking for what happens once, what happens over and over, and what's our total. I didn't ask you what you're solving for this time, but we are solving for how many pop sockets you're selling. So let x equal the number of pop sockets sold. And let's write our equation. You have $100 you borrow $100 from your mom for startup costs. So you've lost that money. You are in debt, -100. And then you sell pop sockets for $5 each. That happens over and over and over. We hope you sell more than one. So plus 5x. And we want to make $215 in profit. So that is going to be what we hope our total to be. Let's figure out how many pop sockets we need to sell to do that. So solve the equation by adding 100 to both sides. 5x equals 315. Divide by 5. And you get 63. So in order to profit $215, we need to sell 63 pop sockets. Better get started. A rectangle has an area of 144. The width is 6. How long is the length? Okay, when you have a geometry problem, you should always draw a picture. We'll do that in a second. You were asked how long is the length, so I'm going to use x. Let x equal the length in inches. And I'm going to draw a picture. Here's my rectangle. He's so cute. My area is 144 inches squared. And the width is 6. So here's my width. I don't know how long is the length. We discussed in class to find area, it's length times the width. So 6, that's this side, times x, this side, equals my area. Because area is length times width. Divide by 6, and you should know that your length is 24. So, final answer, that the length is 24 inches. Number 9. You have another rectangle problem. I want you to find the dimensions. Okay, let's label this first. The length of the rectangle is 7 inches more than its width. So we don't know the width, but we do know that the length is 7 more than that. So we'll add 7 for our length. If the perimeter of the rectangle is 66, so that is adding up all 4 sides. Remember, we need all 4, so I would label all 4. And now add them together. Highlight one at a time. W plus W plus 7 plus W plus W plus 7 equals 66. You combine like terms and then solve. Let's see, 4W plus 14 equals 66. Keep solving. You can pause and do that yourself. W is 13. So that's the width. The length is 7 more than that. So if the width is 13, the length should be 20. Make sure you use units. 13 inches, length 20 inches. Number 10. Another rectangle. The length of the rectangle is 3 centimeters less than twice its width. Okay. Don't know the width. Length is 3 centimeters less, so minus 3, than twice its width. So if I do 2 times the width and then I subtract 3, I have the length. This is just like the last one, except that this time the perimeter is 18. So I would label all 4 sides, since the opposite sides are the same, and add them up and set them equal to the perimeter, which is 18. Go ahead and solve that equation by combining like terms and then solving. You get that W equals 4. So that's our width. These sides are 4. And if you plug 4 in, 2 times 4 is 8, minus 3, our lengths are 5. So width, we're in centimeters this time, width is 4 centimeters, length is 5 centimeters. Okay, the last one, this is a consecutive sum problem. It says the sum of 2 consecutive numbers. So like when I say consecutive numbers, I mean these numbers are